Hello! It's time to open another Upcrate full of mystery art supplies. This is number 49 and it comes from last year, September 2023. It's been a while since I've opened one of these, so I'm very excited to receive another one. And as the box suggests, we'll take a look inside. So let's get into it! Upcrate have also provided a 30% off code for your first box. So if you'd like to try out a box for yourself, add the code Becky30 for 30% off your order. I'll link everything in the description below as well, but let's get opening this one. This is from their back catalogue, and you can actually go through and choose previous months. They do have spoilers up as to what's in them though. I had actually specifically picked this box out, but I had mostly forgotten what was in it because it does take quite a long time to arrive in Australia. It is extremely satisfying pulling that tab off the box. And now to unveil everything, think outside the box. Well, I'm actually trying to get inside the box right now. And for this month, all of the art supplies are wrapped in this very bright blue tissue paper, which is open at both ends, at least on my one. I think it's just the way it's been wrapped, but I was careful taking it out because I didn't want everything to fall out before I get to open it properly, so I'm just going to move that to one side, and underneath is the surface, this pad of hemp mixed media paper. The word Hanfpapier means hemp paper. My German is atrocious, so I had to Google everything that was on here and translate it all into English. I'll do that in a little while, but this is really thick paper. It's 320 GSM and it's glued down on two sides, so I'll have to use a palette knife to take that off. Here's this month's artwork, and it took me a moment to figure out which was the right way up. Obviously the other way because the words are at the bottom. I assume the artist is Mark David, and if I turn it over, there's his name emblazoned right at the top there. Some very geometric pieces with bold colours inspired by graffiti culture. The left one looks like a cash register and the right one looks like a gumball machine. But this is on a fold-out piece of cardboard, and it looks like their Bottle Post magazine has gone completely online, which I think is quite disappointing because I love me a paper magazine. I'm old school like that. I really hate it when things go online. I like paper, gosh darn it, but happily they still have a sticker sheet in here, and there's a lot of interesting designs on these, which I ended up using in some of my artworks. I'll show you that later. That's everything in the box, and there is the Upcrate battle, which you can use the supplies and create an artwork and enter it online. Of course, this is well out of date now, but never mind, let's have fun as the box is telling us to. I was getting distracted by these other little cutouts in the box. I might take those out and then recycle the rest of it, because during my studio sort out I have been getting rid of a lot of boxes. And that never gets any easier. But finally, let's take a look at the art supplies. I could have slid them out of the side, but no, I had to cut around the paper and then open it out like a picnic blanket, because I think it looks more dramatic on camera to do that. So opening it up, and this box has a bunch of acrylic paints, Liquitex Basics. I don't have any of these. It also comes with this lovely looking black paintbrush. I love the design of this, and it ended up being a beautiful brush. My camera did not want to focus on this. A number 6 flat brush in black synthetic, special edition made in Germany. And then there's also a Winsor & Newton fineliner pen in that 0.8. I've seen them before, but I don't think I actually own any of them. It's got a nice sleek barrel, and it comes to quite a long cone-shaped point. It's a strange design for a pen, and it's a relatively chunky one at 0.8mm, and the main star are these 5 very cute tubes of Liquitex Basics acrylic paint. I chose this box because I really don't have any of these, and I thought it would be fun to play around with them. Red oxide, brilliant purple, blue-grey, cerulean blue hue, and light pink. I'll make some art shortly, but I thought I would translate this page because I have no idea what it says. Would you like a dose of hemp paper? Be careful. Danger of addiction. That's the direct translation from Google anyway. If you speak German, please tell me if that is correct because I'd be really curious to know. I thought I'd write out the translation using the fineliner pen so I can test it out at the same time, and I'm using this page for my swatches rather than any of the actual paper provided because I want to do artworks on that paper. The next bit says, winner of the German Sustainability Prize. I'm always fascinated by German and its really long compound words. I wouldn't even begin to know how to pronounce that really long word there. I just know the end of it means prizes. Then it's saying that hemp is ready to harvest 20 times faster and produces 4 to 5 times more yield in the same area, presumably in cotton or trees. I don't know because it doesn't say there. Your perfect mixed media paper. The 5 times longer slope fibres, I think there's a bit of lost in translation there, makes hemp paper more robust than cotton? I don't know. You can use it in many ways. Anyway, let's wash out the glue from this brush, and I'll swatch out the paint so I can see what the colours are like before I get into it, wiping the brush on a very painty rag there. It's interesting, this red oxide colour looks so much more red on camera than it does in person. By the naked eye, it's more of a reddish brown, and in my final scans later it shows up as really red as well. But it's a very opaque colour, and it covered out most of my writing there as I painted over it by accident. The next colour here is light pink, and this is quite pretty. It's a little bit to the peachy side. And this colour palette feels very retro-inspired to me. And next up is Brilliant Purple. I think this might be my favourite out of the group, although I really like the light pink as well. And it wouldn't be a painting video without me getting paint on my hand at some point. Or dropping the lid about 3 times before I get the thing back together. Usually I cut that out of my videos. Next is Cerulean Blue Hue, and this is probably the most transparent of all of the colours. It's a nice blue though, but I did find it dries patchy and does need a couple of layers. The last one here is Blue Grey, and this is a very cold grey colour. But it does go quite nicely with the other colours in here. Once again, sort of that muted retro feel, and this artwork is definitely using only the colours in the box, along with the black pen. So I thought my first artwork would take inspiration from this. I am using a wet palette for these paints because they're going to dry really quickly and drive me insane. I love using wet palettes with acrylic paints. This is an Army Painter wet palette, and I'll link it in the description below. I might even put it at the end because I actually have a video review on it. But it's just so much easier to put the colours out on this, and then they'll stay wet for the entire session, and also for much longer as long as you keep the sponge underneath wet. My sponge has picked up a few stains over the last couple of sessions because paint has run underneath, so I'll probably have to get a new one soon, but it's still working well enough. I'll just hide that stain with some blue over the top. The good thing is you can walk away from this paint, you just put the lid on, and it will keep it damp for hours and hours, even days, sometimes even weeks, although I don't like to leave the sponge wet for too long because it will get mouldy. And I was thinking of this patchwork quilt that I'd painted on my phone holder. Maybe I can make a patchwork quilt out of these colours, and I might even incorporate some of these stickers as I go. I did no planning whatsoever for this one. I just started off painting a purple square, and then I'll fill the entire page with shapes using all of the different colours. There was no particular plan as to which colours should go where. I just didn't want any of the same colours to touch each other. Now, I'm not a big fan of contemporary modern art, but I do quite like pieces that incorporate geometric shapes. I always think of the artists Pete Mondrian and my favourite Vasily Kandinsky. I really love Kandinsky's use of colour as well as the shapes that he incorporated. So I was thinking of these artists when I was painting this, but this is just really a whole bunch of blocks. And I've just been somewhat obsessed with patchwork quilts lately and painting them into a sketchbook or on that phone holder. They're just really relaxing to paint, and you don't have to think about it too much. You just paint in shapes like this and then stitch them all together, which I'll be doing with the pen later. But you can see with some of the colours, particularly the blue and the purple, that they have gone a bit patchy, and they will need a second coat of paint. This pink patch ended up being too big, so I changed my mind partway through, and I painted some of it blue in the end, because I want most of the shapes to be relatively the same size without having any that are too much bigger than all of the other shapes, just to create some level of balance in this. I mean, honestly, I wasn't thinking about this very much. And I kind of get the feeling that a lot of artists are exactly the same way. So when art critics and experts are talking about people's paintings, overanalyzing them and coming up with all these deep meanings, I reckon most of the time the artist wasn't thinking any of that. Or it could just be me, who would know? But I just like to appreciate art for what it is and interpret it the way I want to, rather than someone telling me what it should be. Unless the artist themselves is actually explaining it. I can assure any future art critics that I had completely zoned out and I was just enjoying the painting process. filling up the whole page because I didn't want to have any white spaces. And now I'm going over the squares with a second coat to take away any of that patchiness and make everything nice and even. The shapes themselves are a bit wobbly because even though this was a flat brush, it was very hard to paint a straight line. But I'll fix all of that up in a little while with that pen. Once I had finished painting, I ended up taking the sheet of paper off, which I could have done in the first place, and I'm outlining all of the shapes with the Winsor & Newton fine liner. I could have just drawn on stitches, but because I'd made such a mess of those edges, I figured it would probably look neater if I outlined it all, and I think that was a good choice. Now I'm going in with the stitches to make it look like it's been sewn together. I had considered painting patterns on the patches, but I ended up just not doing that, and I was kind of regretting it at this point because it's just easier to draw the stitches on once all of the pattern is on there, but I'd gotten this far, so I decided to stick some of those stickers on instead. I only put stickers on a few of the patches just to break it up a bit and to add interest to the piece because I thought it was looking a bit dull, and I like to use the stickers up as well. Here's the finished piece. What do you think of it? I think it needs white, but there was none in the box, and I wanted at least one artwork to contain only the things that were in the box this time around, which is why I didn't add any white highlights. Even though I really want to, and I might do that later. But I like the stickers on there, I think it breaks it up a bit. On to the next one. I peeled the paper out beforehand this time. I had seen this picture of a cool cat. It's an AI image and I saved it out. I thought the colours in this box might go quite nicely for it, so it's going to end up looking different to the reference photo, but that's fine. I was just using it for the shape really, and yes, I used some extra items in this one. A pencil, my iris circle gizmo, which has gone rusty on the inside there. I'm going to have to clean it, that's really annoying, especially for such an expensive item. The top of the cat didn't look right, so I rubbed it out and redrew it. I think this drawing came out really well, and I used the paper in the iris to draw a larger circle, and now it's time to paint. I wanted blue and grey for the cat, so I'm painting the background with the red oxide. I could have made the cat in this colour with the pink, I guess, and then have the warmer colours in the front with the cooler colours in the back, which is usually what I tend to do, but I went the opposite way this time, and I basically just painted a flat layer of that red because I was thinking of retro pop art, and I wanted to keep the background with basic colours. I'm painting the circle behind the cat in that lovely pink colour. I think the red and the pink go really well as the background. The Liquitex paints themselves are quite nice. They're not too thick, but they're not too runny either, and they do paint down quite smoothly, although, like I said, a couple of them were a bit streakier than others, particularly the purple and blue. But it was fine once more layers were added, so I painted the sunglasses in with the purple because I thought that would be rather cool, and the rest of the cat will be blue and grey, using all of the colours in the box. Yes, I cheated, I added some white because I desperately needed some more values in this painting. The blue and the grey are both mid-tone colours, and it was impossible to see parts of the cat if I just painted everything in the same tone. Especially around the nose and mouth area, I lost definition very quickly. And really, I see these subscription boxes as something to set off the creative flow, but there's no law that says you can't add other things in to complete the picture how you want it. I think for the Upcrate battle competitions, you're only meant to use the items in the box, but I'm just doing this painting for fun and for the video, so I figured it would be okay to add a little bit of white. Now, I did consider using black as well, but I figure I've got the black pen, so I did try to limit the other items that I used in this particular artwork. It's really only the white paint, and then of course I used a pencil to draw the cat in because I knew I wasn't going to get it right first time. I started adding in highlights and this whole painting just looks such a mess at the moment. So the black fine liner to the rescue. I used it to outline all of the cat and to sketch in a lot of the fur details. This really brought the whole lot together and made the picture look pretty good at the end, I think. When in doubt, draw an outline around it. I'd also forgotten to paint the cat's nose, so I did that in a while, and I also added in a few other details with the paint. I think the colours that they included in this box are really nice together. I wish there had been some sort of white in there, because with acrylic paints I almost always use white to mix into them, but otherwise all of the supplies that were included are very good quality, the brush was lovely, and this pen is really good too. I'm putting this one in my travel bag. It's hard for me to know if the supplies are value for money because this comes from Germany and it's in euro. I don't really know what the prices are like in parts of Europe for paints like Liquitex, so maybe some of you would have a better idea if you think this is good value for money. Let me know in the comments, I'd really appreciate that. I'm finishing up this painting, adding in a few cheeky white highlights, even though it wasn't included in the box. I just think it looks so much better with the white, especially for the whiskers and other little fur details. I like to add white highlights to pretty much all of my artworks. Oh yes, and I'm using a really tiny brush here as well, because the brush that came in the box was just a little bit too thick to add those tiny whiskers. But I think this turned out really cute, I'm quite happy with it, and I really love the colours. You can see what I mean about it being really red looking in the background. It's not that bright in real life. But the blue and the red in particular really contrast with each other nicely. So here are the two paintings I got done today. They've definitely got a retro pop art feel to them, especially the cat. At least I think so. Let me know what you think. And the paper as well is really good. It's nice and thick and it was great for paint. So here's everything I got done today. I really enjoyed this box. I'm glad I chose it. I didn't realise the paper was hemp and I really like it. I'll have to keep an eye out for it. There's a few sheets left. I'm sure I'll use those for something else. I'd like to thank Upcrate for sending me this box. It was a great time. And thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you really enjoyed it. I always have fun making art out of mystery art supplies. I never know what's going to happen until I do it. So if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. You might like to click subscribe for more videos. And I have a few other Upcrate videos that I've done, so I'll put 2 up here for you to watch. I hope you're all having a lovely creative day, and I'll see you all again really soon in my next video. Swatch you later. Bye!